and we're here to talk about Chia. So I would like, because we only have 30 minutes, I would like for all these giga brains, we will melt your brain, just so you know. If you need help afterwards, you can come find me, and I will help you demelt your brain. Please take a seat if you would like. We don't bite. So I am your moderator, as mentioned earlier. We're gonna do I wanna say a 6-word introduction for everybody that's here, who is the most amazing people that I have met in my life through this journey of Web3, which for me has been 2 years, 2.5 years. So I will give the mic to, let's say, A. Seville first, because he's the one that came up with the title. So introduce yourself, explain why the title, and then we'll go to Nick, who's, you gotta watch out for him because he's silent, quiet. You always have to watch out for the quiet guy in the room. And then Cass, who is a wizard. So take it away.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Andreas. I've created an NFT marketplace and minting solution, so the whole package on the Chia blockchain, and worked on the whole NFT standard over there. And yeah, we want to talk about Chia today, and I think we named the panel something like blockchain for creatives, world banks, and degens, something like that. And this title will, or encompasses the whole depth and broad focus of what is possible on Chia. The background of why there is the World Bank in that title is the World Bank actually has a production use case running on Chia today, which is auditing carbon credits for basically 2/3 of all the carbon credits that have been issued are audited on the Chia blockchain, and so that's the enterprise government part of it. But it's a permissionless platform, so we also have a lot of creatives, artists on the platform, and we come to why that is in a bit. And we also have DeFi in all its glory, and that's what Nick is probably going to talk about today.
Talking about DeFi, Nick, please tell us, not in 6 words, why you are here and who you are.
So, does this work? It does. I think it does. Yeah, so my name is Nick. I'm one of the founders of Circuit DAO. We are a on-chain collateralized stablecoin protocol built on Chia. So for those of you who are familiar with Ethereum and MakerDAO, so it's basically the equivalent of that on Chia. So you can lock up the native Chia token as collateral and borrow a stablecoin against that.
Thank you. And then Mike to Cass, the man, the wizard, the dad, and the extraordinary engineer behind the photo booth, where we're the official POAP photo booth working with a glitch artist. So if you have the time, please come. It's free, you redeem it, and it's an amazing experience. Cass, who are you?
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. So my name is Remy Giry, better known as Cass on the Chia blockchain. I'm a former aerospace engineer, now full-time home daddy, a bit of a degen, and to feed my brain, I still develop hardware stuff, but on the Chia blockchain, one of which is the post booth that you can experience down there, here at BananaConf in Tallinn, where you can customize, snap, and mint an NFT on the go and accept the offer of that NFT peer-to-peer here. So basically building what I call a real proof of attendance. So yeah, I'm gonna talk a little bit about this later.
Thank you. I mean, for myself, let me a bit speak and introduce myself. My name is Izadora. I'm a poet commercially. I've been in fashion for 20 years, and then now I onboard high-end fashion into Web3 and how to leverage technology to open up a market to get closer to your customer and basically build with your customer, the people that are paying the money for the outfits and whatnot, and create an immersive experience and a different type of channel and a creative way to leverage technology, but still the customer not feeling like they're being onboarded to Web3. I'm going to jump to Nick and spotlight him. And I would like to know, we're going to do DeFi a bit and then trickle down to some degen stuff because I like to degen. But why build a DeFi protocol on Chia blockchain?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for maybe as a quick intro to Chia, for those of you that may not be familiar with the blockchain itself, think of Chia as Bitcoin with smart contracts. So, you know, it's a fully permissionless, decentralized blockchain. It runs on proof of space. So instead of using compute power, you use your hard drive space for consensus purposes. So it is Nakamoto consensus. There's a concept of longest or heaviest chain. So it really, you know, it really looks and feels like Bitcoin, also in the sense that it's UTXO based. So everything is a coin on Chia. There is no state like on Ethereum. So it's a stateless chain where all the smart contracts get hashed into each individual coin. And that gives you a lot of power in terms of what you can do and what you can build. Yeah, I think, you know, if you really want DeFi in the sense that it's decentralized and permissionless, Chia is a fantastic platform to do that. We also think that the native layer 1 token as a result is an excellent store of value asset. So it's something that, you know, people might potentially be interested in holding for the long term as a store of value. And then you have the question, you know, how do I get utility out of that? Is there anything else I can do with it other than just hodl the token? And the answer to that is yes. If you have DeFi, you can use it in other ways. So with us, with CircuitDAO, you can actually use the token to borrow against. And that was the motivation why we set out to build this protocol. And I think you're going to see similar use cases as, you know, you see with similar protocols, MakerDAO on Ethereum specifically. So it opens up this whole world of DeFi and on-chain financial utility.
I'm gonna, like, for myself as a creator on Chia and learning now about DeFi, we spoke yesterday. I was really impressed and how can, right, we make Chia work and how can we capitalize on what we have. For myself, right, Chia is proof of time and space. And really, as somebody that is not technically advanced like the men here on the stage with me, it's not even the better blockchain, but the math is better, the solution is better. And that's why it's, in kind of layman's term or a child's term, it's better than Bitcoin because the math equation is better. So we can I would say, and you can quote me, it is better mathematics and also evolved mathematics from Bitcoin. So it's a better version of Bitcoin. And if I'm not mistaken, and somebody can correct me, Bram Cohen, who is the founder or the mathematician behind Chia, he created BitTorrent. So if you guys are aware of BitTorrent, which was file sharing and talking about why decentralization was created, for myself, as a poet, my non-commercial side, for me, it took me 1.5 years to really dive into all the blockchain to realize, okay, which blockchain is really following the values of why decentralization was created, right? So for myself, as a non-tech person, Chia made sense for me to create my art, to do my poetry, because Bram and Gene, who's actually an OG Cypher Lord, right? We must talk about Gene. We love Gene, who is the CEO currently of Chia Blockchain. He was the early creator of PGP, correct? Yeah?
But I would like to add something. He's not the CEO of the Chia blockchain because the Chia blockchain is a permissionless system and doesn't have an entity controlling it. And if you say CEO, that sounds like there's somebody controlling it. So it's good point that you brought it up.
Chia
because,
project.
Yeah, Chia, there is an entity called Chia Network Incorporated, which is an entity like a startup in the US with a lot of funding, and they basically built this blockchain. But they gave it into the hands of the community and the farmers and the people running the system, and are not able to control it anymore. It's just, they bootstrapped it, they came up with the concepts, they launched it, And now it's out there in the world and nobody's able to control it anymore. And I mean, if you look at how decentralized that thing is, it has 100,000 full nodes all over the globe. It was 300,000.
How many does Bitcoin have? Just so people...
Something like 50,000, which is already very good. But the great thing is you can actually run a Chia full node on a Raspberry Pi and use that for the consensus as well. So that's like the end goal is to make it as low resource usage as possible, so you can actually have people running full nodes. I mean, there are other blockchains that go on the more high throughput, high volume side of things. They need to have really beefy data center server machines to run the nodes in order to make it possible that it's actually able to do that much of traffic. But on the other hand, you're giving up a lot of the core values of why we actually came up with blockchain in the first place, which is not giving up control, not giving control to a few entities that actually run the system for you. I mean, if you want that, you can
just... The government, we're saying, but
yeah,
unquote me here.
It's just, if you want blockchains, you probably want them because it's a permissionless system. It's a system that nobody controls. And if you want that, if that's your values, then you can go full throttle and say, okay, let's maximize that.
And it's the choice, I think, right, that Chia gives, which first of all, thank you for correcting that, because I don't want to misinform anyone. I'm just a moderator at the moment. So thank you, Izadora, for correcting and giving us the correct information. And I think, right, there's the fact, of course, that I appreciate, Chia, is that you can choose, do you want to be decentralized? Do you want to leverage the technology? Because at the end of the world, we live in a capitalistic world, so everything is going to be centralized, right? And I think maybe, Nick, we'll go into you, because we'll talk about, right, Chia now is, the focus is enterprise. They've collaborated or in partnership with World Bank. So let's talk about RWA tokenization has been a hot topic recently. Are there advantages in tokenization on Chia versus other blockchains?
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all, good examples there in terms of what's possible on Chia, right? So the collaboration with the World Bank and tokenizing carbon credits on Chia, I think is a great example of what's possible. And how the blockchain can be used to bridge kind of the centralized and permissioned world and the permissionless world. So I think it just goes to show that, you know, it's not mutually exclusive. I think the whole idea is really to enable or to empower sort of users and what they can do financially by using decentralized technology. And I think the big advantage is you cut out the middleman. There's less need for intermediaries, and Chia supports these primitives that allow you to do that, right? So peer-to-peer trading, I think, is one of the big pluses. So for anyone who's familiar, for example, with Ethereum's ERC20 standard, you've got transfer capabilities built into that standard, but there's no native trading capability built in, right? So if you want to do trading on Ethereum, you need either something like an AMM or you need to go through a centralized exchange, both of which have their disadvantages. And with Chia, you really have the ability to trade directly with limit orders, peer-to-peer, off-chain, and then only do the settlement on-chain, right? So, you know, the fact that you have now carbon credits tokenized on Chia and can trade these is a fantastic application. And I think you're going to see a lot more of that with other assets as well. Again, the kind of stuff we are building now with CircuitDAO is basically about putting the primitives in place that can be used with other assets or tokenized real-world assets, tokenized funds or other financial instruments as well. So I think we're going to see a whole lot of innovation and assets springing up, you know, to take advantage of these capabilities.
Thank you so much. My brain is definitely melting. So to unmelt for a bit, we're gonna hop back to Cass. And as a creator, he's an engineer. He's a dev, but he says script kiddie. But I want to know, why for you do you choose Chia, aside from making me look good?
Very good question, because you know, as what I would call myself a creator, between the artist and the engineer, just create things. And as a former hardware engineer, I was, trying to basically feed my brain as a home daddy, full-time home daddy. So I still had to feed my brain, and crypto was one of the way of still working on my former job, which was cybersecurity. And at the moment of choosing a platform, whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or Polygon, or any other blockchain, there was also Chia. And why I chose Chia is really because of the very low specs for hardware and software. I'm a hardware background, sorry.
Hardware Maxi.
I can code a bit, I can write, HTML and some scripts in Bash, but I'm not a software dev. So in that sense, Solidity on Ethereum is out of my reach right now. So that's why I basically chose Chia. I know it can be run on a Raspberry Pi.
Which is what the photo booth is running on, which is insane.
This is what the photo booth is running on, a small Raspberry Pi 5 right now.
So if anybody works for a Raspberry 5 in the audience, please sponsor us. We love it.
Yeah, that's for the hardware part. For the software part, it's very easily, it's very easy to implement to integrate the different primitives that Chia offers. So for me, the post booth is the perfect example of that. It was the perfect playground for me to still build on Chia from the hardware part with very low specs hardware, and really try to scaffold things around those primitives. And basically, if we take the post booth, which is basically a POAP protocol on Chia, if we have a look at Ethereum POAP, which is the official protocol, it's not really a proof of attendance protocol. It's a proof of purchase protocol. Because, you can have your ticket to the event, and usually whether you have, a centralized entity at one event with a computer where you can enter your email address or your ENS or your Ethereum address, or sometimes it's just, send to this website, fill in your ENS or Ethereum address, which is, means you can have the proof of attendance, and you were not at the event, you were not attending. And that's, one of the things I like about Chia, the fact that it's completely peer-to-peer. The post booth right now is a true proof of attendance, because the only way for you to mint that NFT is to be physically here. And the only way to accept that NFT is to be physically here. So this is what, as a creator, engineer, artist, is really, feeding my creativity, is to scaffold things around, very simple building blocks in order to enhance what we already know on other blockchains, like the POAP protocol. On Chia is basically a Raspberry Pi and an application which is developed by Izadora here, the Badger app, a very simple application to collect free NFTs. So that's all you need on Chia to create the POAP protocol.
And as a creator for myself, of course, POAP does not stand for proof of protocol. Yeah, it's a proof of a poet. And I just wanted to actually get some interaction from the audience, if I can. Can we get a hand raise of people that have not heard of Chia? If you haven't heard of Chia, raise your hand. Okay, I would say that's 50%. First of all, thank you for...
Not bad.
Not bad, right? Thank you. And I'm curious, does anybody feel comfortable telling us which blockchain that you currently use or interested in using, or a little bit about yourself? Hands? Anyone? Okay, let me ask the question. You use Ethereum currently. Okay. You use Bitcoin currently. Okay. Nice. I hope, okay, you like what you are hearing right now. Raise your hand. Okay. because you weren't the two people just that walked off. I'll deal with them later. That's no problem.
Yeah.
We are I have a few moments. Does anybody want to ask these amazing brains any questions? Because we have a short time, so I want to make sure that, amazing. I love it. You make my job easier. Please.
Thank you. Question, do you know any competitors who are using the similar consensus mechanism or proof of time and space like Chia blockchain is using? Thank you.
Yeah, I can answer that. So there are competitors, or there were competitors that were using proof of space, like those Burst, I think, or Bitcoin HD. There are a bunch of names that were like coming up and going away again. But it's important that Chia does not only have proof of space, so hard disk space being reserved, but also proof of time, which is basically verifiable delay functions. If you want to look into the math, it's basically a math proof that time has passed, and only the combination of the two, the space being reserved and the time that has passed together, make sure that it's as secure as something like a Bitcoin protocol. And yes, so there are some blockchains using some similar type of that, but Chia is the one that has done the innovation there and made
Which
it
are the
as
other ones?
bulletproof.
If I can cut you off and
Yeah.
ask a question. Which other blockchain?
Space Mesh is, I think, the biggest one at the moment. They just launched mainnet, I think, or close to that. But yeah.
Any follow-up questions?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody want to ask another question? Raise your hand. No? Yes. Really? Oh, what's the onboarding process for a startup? Is there any key metrics you have to follow or anyone on board for what specific solutions? Oh, talking about data. I must say, he's not here. His name is Michael Taylor, who does data layer. Am I following up his question correctly?
Can you repeat the question?
What's the onboarding process for a Chia blockchain?
You want to develop on it and use it? So there's Chia.net, which is the main entity behind it. They have a lot of learning material, white paper, all that. That's probably the best way to start.
I mean, as a creator, I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for. As a creator and somebody who uses it also from a commercial point of view, like for example, for me, I'm onboarding a lot of creators and also a fashion company, also working with UNICEF Netherlands specifically. I use CAS. So if you want to drill more questions, if you want solutions and execution done, I would bother this guy. He's not with his wife or kids for this conference, so he has a lot of time up until 8 p.m.
Maybe we can add also that on Chia, you can use all the primitives quite easily, as I do. But if you want to really dig into, writing your own smart coins, smart contracts on Chia, you're gonna have to learn Chia Lisp, because this is probably the main hurdle right now. There's not a lot of Lisp developers. There's a reason why, Chia chose Lisp, because it's a very old software language that is very well supported by most of the hardware. So I think, Nick here and Izadora are one of the few very Chia Lisp literate in the world. So that would probably be the only hurdle right now on not onboarding, but really building into Chia. If you want, you really dig into building your own stuff with the primitives. But for a non-software dude like me, it's pretty straightforward. You go to Chia Network, you go to the Docker site, and you have everything there.
Maybe if I can quickly add to that. So, I mean, generally to get involved in the community or get started somewhere, go to the Discord as well. The community there will be able to help, and the team itself is there. So they'll welcome you with open arms. To the Chia Lisp point, I guess that's a fair point. The Lisp obviously is a bit, it's a functional language, so it's not as intuitive maybe as a Solidity, but there's good reasons for why they have chosen Lisp. It fits very well with the CoinSet model. So in a way, Chia Lisp is an extension of what Bitcoin has with Bitcoin script. So it's not just a few opcodes, but it's a Turing complete language, and it feels a lot more natural than doing anything on Bitcoin. So it is a proper programming language, and if you have some dev experience, it's actually easy enough to get started. The trickier bit, actually, from our experience building a protocol, is really the UTXO model, right? Because if you don't have state anymore, you really need to think quite carefully about how you design your protocol, and because everything ends up being a coin spend, that sort of, if you come from an Ethereum background, if you're not a pure Bitcoin guy, then it needs some sort of adjusting your mental models about how to write smart contracts. But that's actually not so much a function of Chia Lisp, but the UTXO model as such.
Thank you. We are coming down to the last minute and seconds. Anyone have any questions before I just start with some degen vibes, starting with opening up this beer? Any questions? Any smart questions? Also non-smart questions? Because I think I'm going to give it to maybe 30 seconds for everybody that's here on stage to close out. The gentleman that asked the great question, please find us. Please add us on Twitter if you have some deeper question, if you're an introvert, and the DMs are always open, I feel, for all of us. So 30 seconds for everyone, and let's start with Asaville. Your closing thoughts, points?
Yeah, so if you want to learn more, I'm going to have a developer workshop later at 3 p.m. down in the basement. So if you want to see how we do DeFi without any marketplaces, without any middlemen and entities in the middle, just come by. Or if you meet us somewhere walking around, we can do the quick demo as well. But yeah, it has been fun.
Yeah, I think from my side, I mean, one thing that everyone who's interested should definitely give a try is to just download the wallet and get started. Because proof of space doesn't really require any ASICs, and it's very low in terms of electricity consumption. That's the beauty of it. Anyone can run a node, and that's the reason why there's so many nodes on the network. So just become one of them, give it a try. It's super easy to do, and you can become a miner or a farmer, we call them on the network.
Why do we call it farming for those people?
Well, I think mining has a bit sort of negative connotations, proof of work, electricity consumption, right? So Chia is space-based, so you use your existing hard drive space, and you have no electricity consumption other than what you already have, basically. So if you've got a NAS at home, you'll have some spare capacity. Just put some Chia plots on it and get going, right? And you become part of the farming community, and you end up being a block builder, and that's the kind of thing that Bitcoin completely lost with ASICs. Because in order to compete in that market, you need to do that at industrial scale, whereas proof of space is actually a consensus mechanism that works for everyone with their home commodity hardware. So all you need is off-the-shelf stuff.
Okay, and I'm just going to do a plug here for Evergreen. So Evergreen is this amazing company that you buy a hardware, you plug, and you're already farming. So for people like me that like to degen and do art, and I still want to farm, it's something that you pay X amount, the hardware comes, you plug and play, and you're already farming. So you don't need to do all this kind of, I don't know, CLI stuff and like programming stuff, and you can just earn as you plug it in. So it's a great hardware. So Evergreen, miner. 30 seconds.
Last thoughts. I encourage everyone to go downstairs, near the entrance, where you can experience the peer-to-peer minting, of an NFT and trading a free NFT. So if you want your proof of attendance, your real proof of attendance of the BananaConf, I encourage you to come downstairs, meet me, and snap and mint your NFT.
I will be there physically present for an hour. We have also worked with Badger Wallet, which I want to highlight, created by Asaville and also Bubble Trouble. I love his handle, Bubble Trouble. So it's redeemable for free. It's just stepping in, taking a picture. If you want a picture with any of these amazing human beings, and then myself, proof of a poet, you're more than welcome to come. Thank you for your time. Does anybody have any last questions? I saw some new people. Any questions? We will take one last question. If not, 3, 2, 1. Okay.
Thank you, guys.